Are you in the process of trying to renegotiate or litigate a new parenting plan regarding holidays, and you're wondering what typical arrangements folks typically deal with when it comes to fall and spring break? Well, my name is Patrick Slaughter. I'm a family law attorney with LaFevor and Slaughter, and I'd like to give you some ideas about how we typically deal with these kinds of breaks during the school year. Usually, the first thing you have to figure out is how long each of the breaks are. In some school systems, especially in Tennessee, we have a fall break. Having not been raised in Tennessee, that was a novel idea. I wish we'd had one when I was a kid. But in Knox County, a fall break is typically a week long, unless there's some other circumstance where they make up days. Other school systems in varying counties, some have fall breaks and some don't. If your county has a fall break, well, that's something you're going to have to deal with in the parenting plan. If it doesn't, you don't. But you'll notice on the parenting plan, there is default language for both a fall break and a spring break. So if there's not a fall break, ignore it, right, not applicable, you're done. If there is a fall break, then you want to know how long it is. Sometimes some school systems will have it for the entire week, as in Knox County. Others might have it for a day or two. You want to make sure that you realize what you're fighting about. You might not want to die on that hill if it's only a day or two. However, if it's a week, well, that might be a different issue. Spring break, well, we all pretty much know what spring break is. Again, you want to look at your school system's calendar and get an idea of when they have or when they recognize spring break. But one of the most common parenting arrangements we have with spring and fall break is for one parent to get one in even years and the other parent to get the other in odd years. So in other words, you may have spring break during odd years and fall break during even years, presuming both holidays are recognized by your school system. And what that means is each parent is getting one of those every year. It's unusual for one parent to get both the fall break and the spring break every year. That's almost never heard of unless the parties agree to that for some personal situation. Usually they're going to be split. Some parties decide that they'd rather, hey, Mom, you get fall break every year, and Dad, you get spring break every year. Perfectly acceptable if that's what you want to live with. Some parties say, no, I want to be able to take my child on a spring break trip every so often, so I want to make sure that I get at least every other year of spring break. And the way we accomplish that is to say that one parent gets that holiday during even years, one parent gets that holiday during odd years. And again, that means if the last digit of the year is even, the parent getting even years gets that holiday, and vice versa for the opposite for odd numbered years. So that's a pretty common situation. Could say that one parent gets every of each of those holidays. Could say that the parents are going to alternate. It's possible that some parents are going to say because the non-school parent lives in another state, they get each of those holidays to try to make up for the time that they don't have because they don't live in Tennessee. It's between the parties, and you can negotiate for something like that and whatever you think is your children's best interest, but at least recognize the options before you go in there. And before you go in there, it can mean either mediation or before the court in a trial. So if you're trying to figure out better ways to split holidays or what options might be available to you, feel free to pick up the phone, give us a call. We can tell you some ideas that we've used from countless other cases, maybe look at your fact pattern or your set of circumstances and be able to give you some ideas you hadn't thought of. But either way you look at it, again, get the information, be prepared, call your school system, make sure you can look at the school calendar to recognize what holidays are recognized and what aren't. Lay them out on a calendar and start figuring out what is best for your child, what's best for you, and come up with a plan. But always, always put your child's interest first.